Welcome everybody back to the channel with another brand new video. Today, with this video, I'm going to start a brand new series called How to Rally Lead. Now, the reason behind starting this series is, as some of you might know, that I run a lot of rally trips as well. And when I bait rallies, I often notice that rally leads make really basic mistakes, like they don't really know how to break a wall in one march, and they don't really know how to test Frontline properly, and sometimes they don't even know how to balance their jewels in between their mixed gears and their blast gears, and they just have like a lot of confusions in general. So in this series, I'll start with covering the very basic stuff of rally leading, and then try to go to more complicated stuff like wonders. For example, if you guys really want to know about wonders, and if I can collect enough knowledge myself to share with you guys, I'll definitely cover those topics as well. So if you guys really want videos on those, you guys can always comment down below and just comment down the topic that you guys want the video on, and I'll make the videos in future or cover it in this series, of course. And as you guys might have noticed already from the title of the video, that today's video is going to be the very first episode of this series, how to break wall and test Frontline. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. Let's start with why. Why do we need to break wall and test the Frontline? Now, knowing the Frontline is very important, because in order to do good amount of damage, you need to counter your opponent's Frontline. So let's say if I'm in range wedge, or the opponent is in range wedge, I have to do an inf rally to do the most amount of damage. Or he's in cap fell, I have to do range rally to do the most amount of damage. Now, to know his Frontline, I have to do a Frontline test. And to do the Frontline test, I have to break his wall, because otherwise the Frontline solo that I will send, or the Frontline test solo that I will send, will get blocked by his wall HP. Let's break the wall now. As you guys can see, I'm on and on Nagato's account as well, and Nagato will break the wall of Might Not Win's account. Now, you can see the account is in gear, and it has a lot of stats as well right now. So you can think it as the worst case scenario for somebody. The reason why I'm doing it is just to show you guys that even if the account is in gear, their stats don't really matter when it comes to breaking their wall. So as you guys can see, the account has full wall health, and this is probably the maximum amount of wall HP that you can get in any account. And then I'm gonna send a wall breaker. As you can see, Naga is walking, and he hit me, and yeah, my wall is pretty much completely gone. As you can see, it took only one solo, just one solo, to break my full wall. And this is the march. So we use 120k tier 3 siege, 5k of each T2s, and 65k T1 siege. And for the heroes, this is gonna be the heroes. We use Incinerator. I think she's a siege hero probably. Let me see. Yeah, Incinerator is a siege hero. Then this guy Dark Follower is a siege hero as well, and Prima Donna is a siege hero as well, and Elementalist is a siege hero. So the first priority will be to use every possible siege hero that you have available in your castle. And if you don't have 5, then you can just use any random hero as the fifth hero. Now let's talk about familiars. So while you are choosing your familiars, you have to make sure that you cannot use the familiars that deals damage to the largest squad, because if the opponent is not sitting in his largest squad as his Frontline, then your wall march will do damage to another Frontline or another troops which is not his Frontline. So to avoid that, you have to use familiars that doesn't do damage to the largest squad. So Jade is a good one. You can use Hell as well. It doesn't really do damage, it just stuns the largest squad, so it doesn't really matter if you're using it or not. You can use Griffin as well, it just increases your attack. Then you can use Hearty Feast and Drown Out or Aquarius, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so now that you guys know how to break somebody's wall properly, now let's get into the second part of this video and talk about how we can test somebody's frontline. So there can be two types of situation. At first situation, the defender can be without anti-scout. So when they are without anti-scout, you can just simply scout and check their frontline. I definitely want to reveal the comp of this account, of course. So let's say in first situation, if they don't have any anti, what you will do is you will send the frontline, you will send the wall breaker anyway, yeah, and then you will scout them again to check what they have in their informs or what troops they lost. Again, scout them and check their frontline or check their comp to see what frontline they're in. If they took T1 or T2 inf damage, they are going to be in frontline. If they took T1 or T2 range damage, then they're going to be in range frontline, and same goes for the calf. And that's the easy part. Let's talk about the difficult part, where in the second situation they're in anti. For example, this castle. Okay, he is in anti and we have no idea how much troops he has, and we have no idea what frontline he's going to be. So how can we test his frontline? So what I'll do is I'm gonna break his frontline again just to make sure that he doesn't have any wall. So there goes that. So there is two ways to check his frontline. The first one is we can check his own might, we can check the target's might, or we can check our own kills. So on the first method, we have to send a test. I usually send a calf test, and for the calf test I use infwedge. So for that I have a calf test preset, and it has 4 range and 2000 calf, and that's gonna be it for the calf test. So before we send the test, we will check his might, and all we have to remember is his last 3 digit. So it's gonna be 855. We will send a calf test obviously in infwedge. We have to remember this is going to be the important part, that we have to send it in the infwedge, because we have to make sure that his calf is all the way in the back. Yeah, let's send it. Remember his last 3 digit was 855, and it's still 855, so that means we didn't kill any troops. So let's try sending a range test, and for that we will have to use calf wedge, because we have to make sure the range is all the way in the back. I don't have a preset for a range test because I use my presets for other stuff, so I will manually type that out, and we will use the same thing, 4 in, 4 calf, and 2000 range. And we are gonna send it in calf wedge, and we will have to remember that his might was 855 and he dropped some might. So that gives us an obvious hint that he is going to be in range front, because otherwise a calf on calf would not take 0 damage. Now let's see if he is actually in range front. We will open the account, and okay, it's kind of lagging, I'm sorry about that. And we will see that he was actually in range wedge. So when I set a calf test, it took no damage, literally absolutely 0 damage. But when I sent a range test, it took some damage. That gives us the hint that he is going to be in a range formation. As I told you guys that there's going to be 2 methods to test their frontline. For the second type of frontline test, what we will do is we will check our own kills. So let's say same situation, we found this target, we broke the wall, and now it's time to test the frontline. We will go in wedge, and we will remember our own kills. So for my case, it's going to be 079. Again, only the last 3 digits. That's gonna be like that's all you need. I'm gonna set the test. So it's gonna be 079. I hit him. I'm still in 079. Now let's go to calf wedge for a range test. It's gonna be 2000 range for calf and for inf. We will remember our all might is gonna be 079, and it went up to 097. So that means our range did some damage, but our calf did absolutely no damage. So that gives us an obvious hint that this target is going to be in range front. Sorry. Now let's talk about a different formation. Let's say calf fell, for example. So my personal preference is checking my own kill, because when I check his might, when I check my opponent's might, I always have to click on his castle, then I always have to click on view profile as well. Because if I send him a test, okay, let's say I did send him a test, and I click on his castle, then this thing pops up: your invading troops have reached their destination, which blocks his might. And I have to click on the view profile to check his might, which is 2 more clicks, and that's kind of waste for me. So what I do is I just check my own kills and see how much kills I gained. So let's say my kill is 137 right now, just the last 3 digits. Okay, that's my kill. I'm gonna go to inf wedge. First of all, of course, I'm gonna break his wall. Then I will go to inf wedge. Then I will send him a calf test. Remember, my kill is 137 at the end. So I gained 20 kills from that, which gives me the hint that he's probably going to be in a calf front or in an inf front. But I'm still not sure which front, because he definitely took some damage, and if he was in range front he wouldn't take any damage. But the fact that he took damage gives us a hint that he's going to be in inf or in calf. So to make sure which front he is exactly in, I will send a range test, which is going to be 4 inf, 2000 range, and 4004 calf, which is also going to be sent in calf wedge. And as you guys can see, I gained, I think 200 kills, probably 250 if I'm not wrong, 220, almost 220 kills. So that's a lot of damage. Now our confusion was if he was in front or he was in calf front. Now, but the fact that our range test did so much damage gives us the obvious hint that he's going to be in calf front. Now let's see if he is actually in calf front. We will open the account, we will go to the reports, and yeah, the inf wedge, that was a calf test, and yeah, it did 20 damage, 20 kills, sorry. And the range test did 22 kills. So yeah, as you guys can see, he was indeed in calf fell.